welcome to the Au Jus. I'm your host, Beefloaf. This show is being sponsored by our friends, Punky's Pizza and Pasta, located at 2600 South Wallace, my personal favorite eatery in the neighborhood. They have the best selection of pizzas and pastas, as well as the sandwiches and salads of any spot in Bridgeport. Currently, they have a terrific Monday nights only special. 1 medium cheese pizza for $12.99. No promo codes, no minimums. Just place the order at 3 p.m. or later, and you can get 1 medium cheese pizza for $12.99. Toppings can be added, but at the normal prices. Hit the website, punkyspizza.com, for all your carry-out or delivery orders, or to cater your next party. You can also call 312-842-2100. The Scarlatta family will take care of you. Punky's Pizza and Pasta. This show is also powered by you, the loyal 108 supporter. Please feel free to tickle the undercarriage and follow our YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, comment, turn on notifications, and most definitely super chat, because that's how we get paid and how we continue to make the content you know and love. Tonight's guest... needs no introduction. He's the host of the 108 podcast, and from a South Side point of view, he's the star of the Sunday Soak. As well as being one of the sharpest minds on White Sox Twitter, despite his dashing Silver Fox exterior, is actually my baby brother, Chorizy-E. Welcome back to the Au Jus, my friend.
Oh, man, good to be here. And I can't stop thinking about Punkies, because I had that Panzerotti like a week or two ago, man. That thing, it's like, it's so gigantic. And it's just like, and you cut it open. And like it just starts oozing out like all the filler, like all the cheese and sausage and stuff, and you're like, I gotta eat all this right now. Like there's no.
Can you take it down in one sitting? Can you take it down in one sitting? The Panzerotti.
I didn't this time, but I have definitely had that in one sitting.
Oh God, yeah. That's a lot of food, man.
I'll do that post game sometime in the near future.
yeah, oozing out is right. Yeah, that will make you listen. So thanks for coming on and thanks for doing this.
Of course.
So let's get right to it. What do you think of John Schriffen? I can't believe all the fighting that's going on right now about the announcer. It is funny though, like the White Sox fans who want endless fucking rope for some scrub like Lenin Sosa, but after they saw 6 games and they're like, oh, they got strong opinions about John Schriffen.
What's funny is, Herbie posted that thing about like, hey, I don't like the South Side stand up. It feels forced to me. I'm the hater on that one, whatever. Yeah. And I responded to him and I just said, I like it. And he liked my tweet. I thought it was all pretty benign. Then I was in meetings and stuff today. And I get done with work and I look at Twitter and I'm like, oh my God. It was not. People are upset.
It's wild out there. And it's breaking down along some weird lines, like demographically, that I don't quite have my mind around yet. But I was telling you before, I'm like, there's some patterns developing here. So I'm waiting to see, like, as we get further into the season, if those things, mature and it becomes a little more starkly obvious, like what groups of people really don't like John for whatever reason. But I think most of the people, like, that we known that are diehard Sox fans that are watching every game, they like the excitement. They're due for an infusion of excitement,
Look, I'm just glad that we did this anonymous feedback request before all this, because then it would all just be like, be more like John Schriffen or be less.
Be less.
And we had no good information.
He's phony bony. He's flake. I wonder if people think that we're fake, some of our stuff. None of the comments in here, I think, mention it, but we'll see. We'll get to that in a second.
I actually am fake. I'm animatronic.
All right, let's kick this off. I put out, I do this every year, actually. I request feedback. I used to always have, like, people just DM me or whatever. You can comment in the thread on Twitter. This year, I put the Telenom app out there so that you can do it anonymously. And I plucked some of these, Chorizy, for us to just discuss real time. Just like how we would take in these comments. I want to do it in front of an audience. I think it's worthwhile.
I love it. Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Comment number 1. It says, my favorite part of the Thursday show is the banter, which is hilarious. I don't really relate to the segments where you rate 90s music. I love the White Sox talk on the Au Jus, but the content creation discussions don't do it for me since I'm not looking to make a podcast. Not sure how you can make that more relatable, but I skip episodes that are seemingly all about content creation. So, Chorizy, let's start with the first part of this.
You read it wrong. All right.
What?
Because it says, I don't really relate to segments where you rate random 90s music.
Oh, not.
Look, I like this comment.
Yeah.
Overall, I like the feedback.
Yeah.
But random 90s music, both albums we've rated sold millions of copies.
Right. Tens of millions.
They're
Tens
like
of millions
generation.
of copies.
Like I want to say that In Utero was a diamond album. Like it sold 10 million out. It sold at least 10 million albums.
Yeah.
I want to. I'm pretty sure that's
I
right.
think that's right.
I might be wrong, but yes, those were massive albums. That's why I think we've gotten feedback on both sides of this. Like from people we know. Some people love that stuff, and it's the people like our age. Right. And so on the first half of it, what I'll say is like this is good because this is also why when we do these types of random things, we've really segmented the podcast into 3 parts. We got the banter up front, we've got the White Sox centric piece in the middle.
Yep.
And then the back half is, usually something goofy, right? Like a little bit of something fun. And it's like that mainly because we want to get the White Sox talk in there. We like that's what our whole audience is typically there for, right? They're like, that's what we started as. That's what people know us for.
Right.
But that back half, if you get into the segment and you're like, you know what? I don't give a shit what my Sox Summer bought it at eBay, right? Or like, I don't want to hear about this weird A-Rod story.
Yeah.
Yeah, just jump, right? Like that's that's going to be the rest of the show.
That's why
it's going to be the rest of the show.
You're right. That's why we bifurcate it the way we do. We segment it the way we do.
And so I think that maybe you could take a look at that, and when you're going to have on someone who's going to be heavy content, like either put it in the title that this is going to be like all content related, or if it's someone like when you'd have Fornelli on, put the White Sox stuff up front like you typically do, and then when you start getting into the other stuff, or like with Tannehill or Shane or someone, put that up front, and then do like the back half is the more content creative thing. So like someone, you could just disclaim, hey, if you don't give a shit about this, go ahead. But what's interesting to me about that was, could you put that one back up? I just want to make sure I read it right.
Go ahead.
It says, it doesn't do it for me since I'm not looking to make a podcast. I'm not sure this person is from White Sox Twitter because they would have a podcast.
Right, exactly. They have 3 of them already. How could they?
If it said
we're getting
not
outside
looking
listeners.
to make,
I can't believe it.
Not looking to make another podcast, I would get it. But I'm not quite sure that this might be AI. This is. Does it say anything about things in bio at the rest of this?
It does not. It does not. Okay. I don't know. Well, it's interesting. Obviously you went on the defensive right away for the albums. But one thing I do know that we are conscious of, guys, and we end up reverting to 90s stuff in general just because that's the age we are. But we try hard to stay out of just doing that and like do more current things or whatever. We try to stretch the relatable stuff across, but it's going to lean a little more 90s because that's the age we are.
Well, also, against me and for Beef reels me back from that, right? Like there was just the last week's segment, because it was the 30th anniversary albums we were doing. I had like 50 of them, and he's like, you need to get this down to under 10. And then like when we were talking about like what other albums should we do, I was like listing off albums, and he's like, dude, those sold like 400,000 out. No one knows who that is,
Right.
Like
we got to do a big album. We got to do big albums. We're going to do that type of thing.
And so he reels me back from that. Now that said, I also like this comment because it brings me back to being like, some things maybe work better in a blog or a blog with a standalone video. So like if I wanted to do more of these, maybe that's where I put some more of those.
Yeah.
And we should mix it up a little bit more in the back half, right? Maybe do some sports some places where we normally wouldn't, stuff like that. So it's a good comment overall. I like it overall. But if you ever say that Soundgarden Super Unknown is a random album again, I will find you, Anonymous. I will find you.
Last thing on this. Thank you for the comment about the banter. That's a section that we we don't share with each other what we're going to talk about generally, so it is very fresh to the rest of the group. But we have worked really hard to make sure that we come with something that we could light the other guys up with and get them to engage or whatever. It looks easy. It's incredibly difficult to get that segment to work as well as it does. And we've been now doing this 6 years. So we kind of have a beat on, well, they're going to tear me apart about this. This is a story I want to bring in here or whatever. But it takes time. If you're going to do that sort of thing up front, no, it's likely going to suck for a while. And you're going to have to really figure out what lights up your partners and get them going.
You got to know the people. You got to know stuff like Beefloaf thinks that cereal is only for 4-year-olds, right? Like, yes. So you could needle them on stuff like that. You know, like last week, I could have guessed all the Smasher Pass last week before I handed them to these guys. That's why it was all stuff that they would disagree on.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Comment number two says, I like the MSS this or that segment. That would make that a slideshow for the YouTube audience. Would help with the guessing. He has the pictures already since he's posting them on eBay. Wouldn't take too long to do. Chorizy.
I swear to God, Beef, I did not write this one. I did not write this. But whoever did, I appreciate you. Because I have said this nearly word for word after every time we do this or that. When we're talking after the podcast, I'll be like, you know what would have been awesome? Like a PowerPoint with all the things that we're gonna guess on. And MSS never does it. For the live show where we did it, he printed out pictures of the stuff, and I was like, that had to take way longer than giving me a PowerPoint.
He's scared maybe to do the PowerPoint. He doesn't want.
Just PowerPoint.
Obviously, that is a great comment, and from a visual standpoint, it's great. It doesn't help the YouTube the podcast listener. And truth be told, Chorizy, we'll ask way less questions about the products if we had a picture. And so I think there is some comedic value to there not being a picture, because you and I then will ask him things and delve into it, or we create a picture in our head and we make up shit. And so you lose some comedy.
If the picture was there, we could do just as much with it, right? We could be like, well, that looks dirty. You know, that looks like someone might have shat in it. I don't know if I'm paying that much for it.
Could be true. That is a good comment, and sounds like from someone who makes content, and of course it is. So Baloney says that was me. So yeah, thank you, Baloney. That's a good one. I agree. We've been trying to up our visual game more, and we hope that doesn't hurt the podcast listeners. But
I do think that, like, I was listening back, Beef, just a little anonymous feedback from someone who's very much right in front of you. Yeah. I was listening back to our last podcast, and we while we have up the visual game, we are neglecting the podcast listener every once in a while. So, like, I think we got to be cognizant of both. Like, this is fun live, but we've got other listeners that are going to listen just audio.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's a great call. All right, comment number 3 says, the 108 tourney is annoying. Seeing 20 people retweet the same tweet in a row sucks. You guys all will tweet about the tourney, retweet each other's tweets, and then retweet the same tweet again from the 108 account. I mute every iteration of the 108 tourney I can. Tweets still get through because weirdos who take it too seriously will screenshot a result to talk about it. You've recreated grammar school popularity contests, but for adults, I'll never forgive you.
Again,
why did you comment that, Tracy?
I did not write that.
You sure?
You know what, though?
Sure about that?
Whoever wrote this, you're not mad at us.
No.
I can't tell you enough that you're not mad at us. You're mad at people who don't know how to use the simple hashtag that we've given them. Because the beauty of the hashtag is that if you hate it, you could just mute the hashtag and you won't see anything. Yeah. But it's these people that just don't know how to use the internet that are going out there hashtagless, ruining your day. Not our fault, but we will do what we can to remedy that in the future. I promise.
Bert Ferkel says the 108 tourney is the best thing known to mankind. This person's way off. No, I appreciate the comment, and it makes me feel good about the 108 tourney because we know it's been very successful for us, not just monetarily, just popularity as well. And something can't get really truly popular unless it has a bunch of haters.
Oh,
and 108
man.
Tourney has a bunch of haters. Like, I wish the podcast had more haters like the 108 Tourney does, because you that's how you're showing growth if you got a lot of haters. And the 108 Tourney has a ton.
We need Herbie and Sean to tweet about how much they hate it. That's what we really need. That seems to really inspire conversation.
Get everyone going. That's right. But I mean, it is what it is. And I agree with Chorizy. Just mute the hashtag. James Fegan does. I know that. All right.
Use the hashtag. That's the more important. I bet this person
Yeah.
muted the hashtag. They did it right. And then people who don't know how to use the hashtag, who don't listen to My Sock Summer,
That's correct.
are messing up his day or her day. Might be her day. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah. No, we're not judging. Not judging. No, we don't know. Comment number 4. Feedback. Sincerely. Stop the constant swearing.
This is a really good one, to be honest. So here's, and I'm probably not going at this from the same angle that they are.
Yeah.
But I think that swearing is using it well is a wonderful descriptor. Right now, I know this person's probably looking at this like we do a curse show like Eddie Murphy, and they're like, all this filth, floor and filth. But I like to use, curse words as descriptors sometimes.
That's right.
And I think if you just constantly use them, when you really want to nail one home, right? You really want to show somebody that you mean something here. And you go like, this effing thing, it doesn't hit as hard because you've just been swearing all night. So I think like that is something I need to be like cognizant of, to like be like, all right, I already swore 15 times. I made all the people at home drink 15 times, which is just unkind of me in general.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, I don't think we do a curse show. So like I feel like
we do not do an all curse show.
I feel like maybe in the beginning it was really heavy. I think we were nervous, and you fill in those silences with all curses, all that filth, filth. But now I don't feel like we do that much. I got to listen back and just maybe I'll do a count like Scarface and see where we're at.
No, we do use like sexual innuendo, or I think we do a good job of swapping words in and out too that mean the same thing, to mix it up a little bit, because inevitably what the 108 podcast is the three of us trying to make each other laugh. And so you can't use the same shit over and over. It won't work. Like, you got to mix it up and get them off their toes.
And as much as it's part of our tag with baseball, beer, and bullshit, the word bull flop is just as funny. So, like, I think, you got to mix those in sometimes too. Saying something's pure poppycock works.
Yeah. So this is a really good piece of feedback here. I agree with that. Just limit the swearing. That's good. All right. Comment number 5. I know it's gonna be a Chorizy favorite. This comment says, "I love you guys. Seems like you guys have the same people on the podcasts. Seems like you guys only focus on the Missy Carroll that time of crowd," it says, but I think it means that type of crowd. "There are so many awesome people that should be on the pod. Not the ones that are always on. Not sure if you need 10,000 followers or what. Reach out to more people. Don't always have the same people on. Thanks."
All right. I know I said I wasn't going to swear too much, but I fucking hate this one. So
I knew it.
So I knew you would give me one like this and I came prepared. Prepared because point 1. So this is just from the beginning of last year. This isn't every guest we've ever had on. This is 2023 and then into this year. So 16 months.
16 months.
Here's the 52 guests that we've had. And I realized after I made this graphic that we missed some because like Baloney's not on here and he came in for a hot seat.
Yeah.
So like, right. It's more than this.
Yep.
Right. And we only do 2 shows a week, maybe.
Right.
So like to have this many guests on, that's a lot of different people. And this is a diverse crowd of people, both, as actual people and follower count. There's people in here with like 300 followers on Twitter.
Right.
There's people in here that aren't even on Twitter.
Right. Exactly right.
So I don't know what this comment is about, other than like every time I get this comment, I just take it as you should have me on your podcast. Like and like it says something about like there's so many awesome people out there. There's not.
We did.
There's not a lot of awesome guests. Like there's awesome people. Yes, I meet people all the time. I'm like, this is a great person. I don't want to talk long form with them for 30 minutes.
Right.
And we've done this. And not only that, there's a lot of risk to it. Just not only just from like, oh, this might be a dud of a show, right? Like if this person comes on and they're just like kind of sitting there silent, they answer every question with one word,
right?
You know, like there's that risk, but there's also risk that we've seen of, you know, you have someone on the show and they turn out to be a sexual deviant, you know. Like I'm not looking to attach myself to every person on the internet because it goes bad more than it goes well.
Yeah, and it reflects on us. And you're right. We didn't do anything, but they were on your show or whatever. It's your fault. You're suddenly connected to them. Yeah, we tried doing a bunch of randoms when we did 3 things, which was several years ago. We did it during the pandemic, and you realize when you do it, some people just are not cut out to be on here doing 15, 20 minutes and aren't going to be entertaining. The other issue is when we have a guest, and 108 Podcast is not guest centric. We want to set up that guest for success. So we want to have something where they're going to come on and it's a sweet spot for them. It's something that they're good at. And we know that we're going to get a lot out of this and they're going to look great and we're going to look great and you'll be entertained. You can't just throw anyone on and then it's entertaining. Trust me, it's not. We've been through a lot of guests over time. We've been through a lot of shows over time that have sucked. Like you got to be careful with it.
And there's a lot of prep too. There's a lot of prep to know, like, you got to know about the person to bring them on. So especially when you like make the idea of like, there's so many people in like Twitter, or there's so many people in White Sox, you know, in the section and things like that. Yeah, but like, I don't even know how to research someone. Like it would be borderline creepy if I knew a lot about someone who's just on Twitter, like that doesn't like really share a lot, you know? So like,
No, I don't know. Chorizy, even if there's
very difficult to run a good interview from my side, just from running the interview.
There is a guest right now, and I was talking to Mr. Han about this at the game. He's like, you should have this person on. And I'm thinking, yeah, that probably would be a good guest. I don't listen to anything they do, read anything they do. I would have to engulf myself in it so that I know all their shit so that I'm prepared for the interview. And you're right, it's a lot of fucking work to prepare for that stuff. So it's like, you know, when you're trying to balance, hey, sponsors pay for this thing, and you're watching, you want to be entertained. You don't want to just we have someone on we don't know, and it's 20 minutes of pure boredom for you. You don't want that shit. So it is risky, and we've taken a lot of risks. Let me pull this thing back up here. We've had a lot of goddamn people on here. You know, and yes, some of them are repeat guests. Some people, if they work, we have them on again because, you know, their sweet spot or the thing they're good at or whatever. But yeah, I mean,
I can't think of anything riskier than having a Billy Wires Vino section in there.
Exactly. Luckily, it delivered. So
that was high risk, high reward. No, that was high risk, high reward.
Yeah, hang on. I saw a comment in here. Chorizy said they could have made some suggestions. Yeah, that would. If you're gonna have that comment, make a suggestion of exactly who you think should.
They couldn't, because that would have outed themselves that they wanted them to be on.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's generally what I think it is too. All right, comment number 6, Chorizy. This one says, a live stream from a tailgate would be really cool. Almost like your 108 Day and Sox Machine shows, but literally from a tailgate. Chorizy.
I like this idea, but it is a nightmare to do. It's absolutely a nightmare to do. So, because you got to think about the logistics of this, right? Like, so think about, we have, you know, you go hang out at the Bums tailgates. They got one coming up next Saturday, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Whoever put this in, come to that tailgate, May 11th, come to that tailgate, hang out. And then try and like just think of where we would set up, where I would get speakers set up, where I would run electricity from, how I could get people to listen to us, but people on the on the outskirts of that not be annoyed by us. Yeah. It's a logistical nightmare. I would love to do it. I think there's probably some different ways to do something like this. Yeah. Maybe like more man on the street interview type style, and then cut that up into a full podcast. Like I like the idea, but the two things are, one, it's a logistical nightmare, and the second is that the Bums already got the tailgate thing down. Like I want to just go and enjoy myself at their tailgate. Like that's I feel pretty good about just being
hang
like
out and drink tequila.
And especially at their tailgates, it's like I shouldn't be talking anymore. I've had permits and I'm not even in the park yet. And this is so.
I don't need this recorded right here. This. No, you're right. And also the other thing is too, Chorizy, sound quality is going to suffer.
Yeah,
you're going to have
it's going to be real tough, and people are going to be bumping into you.
Correct. People will not respect the area of like, and people will be yelling into the thing, and like, it just creates a lot of issues. Like it sounds like a great idea, and it would be cool if you could appropriately pull it off. But logistically, it's just not. I don't think it's in the cards. We do have like the setup to do it. It's possible, but I just don't think logistically it works. The way it could work is if you got one of them special tailgate areres like they got in the back.
Yeah.
And you set up a table for it and did it. Like that's the way that type of shit could work.
Even then, I'd much rather just set a table on fire and throw someone through it. I think that's a more entertaining product. I do think though, Beef, I did have an idea this past year for tailgates when we wrote it down. It's in the notes. We'll see if I could get it put together, and we'll do it at a tailgate. So we'll see if we get that, and then that'll at least be like YouTube video worthy.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a good idea. It's just like if you have Barstool and if you have the Barstool camera people and all that, you could do some of the shit that you find here. When it's DIY, like some of us with the smaller podcasts, it's enough for us to just get like a bunch of pictures of someone's tailgate to create FOMO, let alone doing a whole production and stuff. All right, last one says comment number 7. Comment number 7 says, I love the silliness of the pods and Beef's sense of self-awareness. Thank you. But y'all kind of lost me with all the degenerate porn obsession.
This can't be about me. And it can't be about my sock summer because he's not the porn guy.
No, he's not a porn guy at all.
You know what? I saw that as it came up, and I was like, because we do talk a fair amount about porn.
Adult stuff.
And like we the currently thing for our 5th anniversary, and I've been using it for Chorizy-E.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I feel like there might be like this might be another like generation gap type thing, maybe. It could be something else, but like I'm just like, to me, I think we grew up, Beef, in like a weird time period. So like we had the internet,
but not really.
But streaming was not possible.
No.
Right? Like, so knowing about porn and stuff, you heard it from your friends. And so it became a fairly normal social topic,
right,
to talk about this amongst your friend group. And so I think that we're maybe overly comfortable with it. Just like I think the generation after us is overly comfortable with sharing stuff online.
Personal
like
things.
I don't like put like really any really close personal stuff or like anything that I'm like, oh man, I'm really thinking about this and it's a struggle for me in my life. I really don't put any stuff like that out. And I look at other people doing it, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't think I'd ever do that. But that's just a generational gap. It's just right. Like I didn't grow up with that, right? And we grew up with this. Ours is hornier, but like it's still something that I think like a lot of, and I don't know, like if people are around our age, like in the comments, like if I'm way off base here, or if this resonates, but like I think maybe that's it. We're just very comfortable talking about it amongst ourselves, and we've always wanted to make this show. You're coming and sitting with us for 9 innings, right? And like these are the topics we talk about. This is kind of some of the stuff we talk about. I don't think I'm obsessed with porn.
I don't think any of us are really.
I'm obsessed with how much my sock summer knows about porn. That's probably my main obsession.
He's got an area in there where it's that's the whole database up there.
It's reserved. It's like that. It's like that table at the hot nightclub that's always reserved. Like he's got that. Like there's just that one part of his brain.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the comment on the silliness and my sense of self-awareness. I appreciate that. That is like we don't share any real personal stuff, but I do think that self-deprecating humor is the way into people's hearts, and I'm totally comfortable being the butt of the joke, and so I appreciate you acknowledging that. With regards to
the butt of the joke. I mean, you'd have to have a butt to be the butt of the joke.
regarding the porn thing, Chorizy-E's right, but there's another element to it, I think. When you're having discussions with your friends, you may say some things that you would not want other people to hear in public. And, the way a society's gotten, we've cleaned up our language. We don't talk in certain ways. And one of the taboo areas where you still can talk about shit that is absolutely crazy is porn. So, like, that is one outlet to, like, say some real wild shit that might get a laugh out of the group or whatever, where you're not really hurting any feelings or anything like that. And so it's a little bit of a safer taboo area, if you will. And so I think sometimes that's why it slips in there, because it's like a way to move over to the next thing and do a little shocking thing and then go kind of thing.
I just had one other thought, though, Beef, on this whole topic. And it's maybe something we should be a little more aware of, is that, so we've had the swearing comment, and then we've had the porn comment. And this might be from people that are like, man, I like to listen to this in my car, but I don't want my kids to listen to this. And so, I get it. And that's limiting to us, right? That's like, if that's their carved out time of the day, they're giving it to somebody else because we're a little bit too baughty. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
So I get that. And that's, that we'll be conscious of that. Maybe you know what we need?
What?
We might need like kind of an intro song or something that lets you know the next thing's not safe for work. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Don't listen to this with your kids, right? Like we're going to talk about what's going on with Brandy Taylor nowadays.
That's hot news these days. Well, that's all I got, Chorizy. Thanks so much for coming on and chopping it up with this anonymous feedback with me. Remember, we ain't trying to be right on the show. We're just trying to understand. Anything you got to plug, want to talk about before you leave?
Yeah, man. Obviously, from the 108 podcast. That's where I start, not this guy. So you want to come listen to that. And the Star Wars podcast will be back this year. So there's a new show starting in June. We will be doing that weekly breakdowns. I'm pretty sure Josh Nelson's doing it with me. Even if he's not, I'll do it solo. It's happening. It's happening.
That's without a doubt happening. I love to hear that, because there's a lot of people that love those Star Wars shows, and they've been asking in the ballpark today. They're asking this weekend, when you were gone, you're on hiatus. They were asking me, is the show's coming back? I said, I think so. They said it was coming back, so I'm glad to hear that right now.
I'm excited for it. Be great.
Awesome, Chorizo. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you in a little bit. We're going to this game together.
See you at the park. I'll be up there.
Take care, my friend. That was Chorizy. It was fun. Just give you guys a peek behind the curtain of us chopping it up about commentary. Next week's guest, I'm going to have on Nick Schaefer. I haven't had Nick on in a little bit. We're going to do it at a special time, 8 p.m. Central Time. Nick is on the East Coast, and so for him to make it, we had to do it a little later this time. He's got some stuff going on. I want to hear him weigh in on Getz and what he believes is a flawed process the White Sox have started. He's very much down on what's happening, so I'm interested to hear him. He always has a glimmer of hope in there for me, too, so I want to hear how that ends up working out. So Nick will be on next week. Thanks to Punky's Pizza and Pasta and all the 108 families up in the YouTube comments. Appreciate you smashing the like button, comment, and, of course, the drinks and tips. Not as many as usual tonight, but thank you for the ones that you guys gave us. Thanks, and we'll see you on Thursday.